Yeah. So you and Car spoke.
Yeah, so me and Car came together through LinkedIn. I found the foundermatcha network, and then we ended up having a call. There was a couple of things I was asking about the foundermatcha app and how it works. So he really nicely jumped on a call with me. We had a video call, and yeah, a lot of synergy with my, I guess, vision. And me as a person, I've been in the fitness industry about 15 years now. Prior to that, I was in the police force for 8 years in the UK. I moved out to America and played football and was coaching for the New York Red Bulls for a year and a half. I then tore my ACL, which was like a bit of a pivot point. I was like, okay, what do I do? I came back to the UK, started doing CrossFit, got qualified, did my courses because I loved it. And then I ended up moving out to the Middle East, to Qatar, and I lived out there for 5 years. Back in 2013, set up the first CrossFit gym in Qatar, and then set up another gym in Qatar, another CrossFit gym. Then I set up a company to design gyms and sell equipment. So I was at this point of, okay, I've ran two different gyms, set them up for the last 4.5 years, and then what's next? And like kind of through, I guess, evolution, you kind of ask yourself that question. You ask yourself that question, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go on the other side of the industry. So I went on the design side for gyms and selling equipment to big projects out there in Qatar. Moved back to the UK 2018, continued doing the same thing for a couple of years, and then I started up an online platform. So it was just before COVID, and then I was selling PDFs, coaching, and then it kind of grew from there, and that's where I am today. And then I guess where I've been the last 6 to 8 months really is like, okay, what's next? What can I utilize my skills and my knowledge for? And I like to solve problems. Like every coach, you go into coaching to fix things or help people or solve problems. It feels like when you're a coach and you're an online coach now, especially the last 12 months or 18 months, it's so saturated. You know, you've got coaches, again, hats off to people who are doing well, but you've got young coaches who have never really coached people, never really ran anything in person, but they come online, newly qualified, and they blow up on social media and they get people in, you know, and they kind of start on that track. And you then start becoming a marketer and a content creator instead of coaching all the time, because you need to get the clients in and people need to see you. And one of the biggest problems that I've had myself throughout the years is, okay, what content do you post? How do you create it? What ideas you have? Because even anybody, you get, if I'm posting 2-3 times a day, you run out of ideas, or you want to get inspiration from somewhere else. And then about 2 months ago, I was like, all right, I'm going to learn. And I'd already been learning a little bit, but I was like, I'm going to build a platform. Or I've fully vibe coded everything. I come up with the problem first. The problem was content creation.
Yes,
For
which is like
coaches.
a massive, everyone needs it, especially in the fitness industry. And you're right, you lose inspiration, you lose drive.
Yeah, exactly. And look, I've always kind of managed to overcome that, and the use of AI has made it so much easier, but you still want to, and also you take inspiration from other people, tweak it a little bit, and then put it out as your own, or some people just absolutely copy other people, which is crazy. But yeah, so I ended up thinking, right, what's the problem? How can I solve it? And I come up with an idea for Coach OS, which is basically a content platform for fitness coaches to create the content based on their profile. So yeah, I fully vibe coded it, I guess, so through Codex, built my tech stack, done research into what I needed, connected everything up, built it within about 3 or 4 days.
What was that process like? Like, did you tell me about it? Was it hard? Was it what you thought it would be? Was it rewarding? I can imagine it would have been like such a new space to be working in.
Yeah, I've been dabbling a little bit, but I hadn't fully connected the tech elements before. And I was kind of saying, how viable is this? Because you can go to platforms like Lovable or Base 44 or something like that, and kind of they do all the background work for you. I'm a person who wants to learn the process before I would kind of go to something like Lovable or Base 44.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I wanted to know the back end network and how that connects to have an understanding of just how it would work. So yeah, use Codex because I've used ChatGPT, so I kept it like branded with OpenAI instead of going to Claude because everyone's hyping over Claude and Agent and Fable and everything. So yeah, vibe coded it fully through Codex, connected my tech stack up, which I use Codex, obviously GitHub, Vercel, Supabase, and then I've got Resend in there, and then I'm adding at the moment some tweaks and a layer of security in there as well before it's launched. So it's a working MVP at the moment, and I've tested it with about 15 people so far, and it works. So the whole platform is basically a coach comes in, puts in their blueprint or their onboarding through a series of questions. Another element I just added in last night was a dictation element within the text boxes. So instead of them having to type, they can now speak, which is a cool, faster thing. So, and it makes it more premium as well. So added that in. Obviously, OpenAI is my connected token usage in the background and the AI system I'm using. And coaches will come in, fill out their blueprint, and then based on that blueprint and the moat I've created for my CoachOS platform, their information will go together with the moat, go into the AI, and then generate the content for them with ideas based on who they are, what they sell, the services they offer, their methods, their ethos, and their target audience. And then at the moment, it creates 44 pieces of content across 4 different platforms. The main ones, which are email, LinkedIn, TikTok, and Instagram. And then it gives them a 4-week content planner to give them some kind of structure. And then on top of that, they have the ability to have 30 one-off pieces of content each month. In my current subscription, I could increase that, I could decrease that, of course, but 30 pieces where if they have an idea on Tuesday about a recipe or something they've seen, that can go in there, type in their idea, and then it'll generate the content or the map out of the content for them, and then they can use that to post into their social media. At the moment, it's only text-based, so it's just text information content, but obviously they would then have to add imagery in that, and then hopefully, if I get subscribers and this takes off and I get people using it, the idea then in a phase 2 build would be to add in maybe some templates or some visual elements that they could then take with their content and then post that kind of, and have a full system to post into their on their socials. And the benefit of this is obviously the AI will learn them individually and know about their business. And I've made it so each post, so say if they did day 1 through to day 30, each post would be in synergy with each other. So they're not seeing a different message all the time. And then that message would then develop. So let's say they're talking about fat loss or muscle building or fitness improvements. The themes throughout that content will build upon each other. So people can see like a bit of a journey through this person's weekly content. They're kind of starting off, okay, what are the basics of fat loss? Then how to improve it, and then what foods improve it, and what methods of training. So it'll kind of continue in a sequence, if that makes sense, instead of just giving you 44 pieces of totally random information to post. Yeah.
That's incredible.
That's it in a nutshell.
That's amazing. I can't wait to post a link so everyone can access it, because I just think it's, what a great idea. Like you're solving such an amazing problem. And it building off each other is like the content, the information, it's relevant. It's, I'm assuming, like academically sourced, it all is making sense. It's great. I love it.
And I think as well, a lot of the problem is like the question would be, and when I was going through the build of this and obviously adjective questions to myself, was why can't someone just go on ChatGPT and do this themselves, or go on Claude? The answer's essentially they could, but they would have to build out their blueprint so the AI knows them, which this gets you to do prior. What you then have, and this is a problem that I've had, is yes, you can do it, and I've done it before, but all of your content then becomes so sporadically spaced out. So you might use ChatGPT for something, or it might be a free version of it, which isn't the best model. Then somebody might use Claude, and then they flick between AI systems. and then their content kind of gets lost a little bit. And then
Yes. Yeah.
every day they might be going back in, typing something in again, and then typing something in again. So this takes all of that away. And you know as well, the aim of this world now is just time efficiency.
Yeah.
So this solves that problem.
Yeah.
And to answer your question as well in relation to the process, I like the challenge of learning the
These new
connectors.
skills. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the new skills and how to do it. So I didn't find it hard, but I found it challenging. I think there's a very big difference because with a challenge, you can always, like, you're having a bit of trouble, but there's always going to be an answer somewhere. So if I didn't know something, thankfully as well within Codex, you can ask it like anything you want to do, give me. So it would sometimes tell me what I needed to do, but I'm like, no, tell me step one again. I'll then complete step one, then I'll approve step one, and then tell me step two, so I could go through it methodically, basically work through it and understand it myself. So it was challenging, but it was also exciting and very rewarding because you've built something. You've built a platform where really 2 years ago this wasn't possible to do
Definitely. Yeah.
unless you were a coder and knew really high level computer coding skills and everything.
But it's so good that you've also like found like ways to make sure that you're learning it as well. Like it's not just AI slop or you're just getting somebody else to kind of build it out. You're
Yeah,
learning every part of what you're building, which is the
yeah,
best thing for a business owner. I'm assuming you've done that in all your other businesses. So this is just like them. Like you've
yeah,
got
and
the oversight over it.
when I first started, like wanting a website and wanting a platform for my fitness stuff and linking in email automations and things, I did it all myself because I didn't want to just hire somebody or pay somebody or Fiverr or find a guy to like link everything up for me. I want to know actually how do you do it.
Hmm.
So if now I get someone to do it for me, I'm just saving time because I can't be bothered. If I wanted to change like Zapier to N8, for example, and start a new 10 email automation email sequence, instead of me doing it, I could give them the content and say, here you go, set it up. Because I know how to set it up, but it would just take me 3 or 4 hours. Whereas essentially you could pay somebody on Fiverr $100 or something and they would do it for you, you know?
Hmm.
So I think that's a good process. And especially through this, I think I've become like with this because it's not a new industry, but it's a new skill that I'm learning. I'm becoming a bit of jack of all trades of knowing all the connective points and how it processes and mentally be able to do it. So I'm at a point where I'm like, okay, could I get someone with a higher skill level in one or two things to then come in and improve those one or two things, but I still know what's going on in the circle, if that makes sense.
And is that where you're at now with Coach OS? Are you like wanting the next stage, refining the areas you need help with?
Yeah, I have spoke with one developer, and he suggested a couple of things. He suggested a few things that I didn't agree, not it's not agreeing with or disagreeing. He wanted it to essentially go 2 or 3 steps ahead of where I'm at now. But I'm always okay. Simple is best. What I've got now is solving a problem. Let's get that out and test it into the market to see if people come onto it. Then, if we then want to do step 2 and 3, then we can build that. So at the moment, it's a SaaS platform. It's not an app. He was suggesting, okay, make this into an app and do this and do this and integrate their social media into the app so they can connect it. I'm like, no. That adds 2, 3, 4 elements of complexity. It adds weeks or months of development, and then you've got to process all your payments through the app platforms. You've got to get
Yes, yeah.
app accounts approved, and then you've got to upload it, and then it may take 5 weeks to even get on the app store. So I'm like, no, let's just keep it as a SaaS at the moment. It might not be the best it could be, but let's get it out there and test it. But the system, the platform works. So
What you need. That's exactly what
yeah,
you need.
yeah. So I'm like, no, calm down. I see your vision. I like it, but let's keep it simple. See if we can solve a problem and if people like it. And I haven't even started marketing this yet, so I haven't even put it out there because it's an MVP. The security layers are not in there. Well, they are, but they're not exactly what I want it to be. So instead of launching it, just a bit of testing first, really.
Definitely. I want to come back to this at the end, but I want to talk a bit about the career you had across fitness and coaching. Is that something you're still involved in at the moment, alongside building the app, or is the app, oh,
Yeah,
sorry,
yeah,
the Coach OS, or is that taking
yeah,
up all your
yeah.
time?
No, it's not. I've kind of done this on a night on the
Both.
side.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, I still have group training programs, so people subscribe and do monthly training programs, and have an app and a delivery system for that. And then I do one-to-one coaching with different clients as well. So that is my main thing at the moment. That won't go away. I don't think that ever will. I don't want it to. And then the pivot point of getting into the system building or the SaaS platform will be, yeah, the just solving that problem and the next step. So the fitness stuff is still there. I need that to live and eat. That's what I built up, so it can't just disappear, and I don't want it to. So yeah.
Amazing. Tell me about that. So what's been, you've had like, yeah, a crazy career going all across the world. What was that like? What have you kind of learnt from that you've taken into building like the next venture and the next thing? And there's always seems like there's been so many different businesses and ways of, helping people. Tell me about it.
I think the biggest thing is having the balls to believe in yourself that you can do something different than what you're doing. A lot of people just stay in what they're doing. Like you've just told me, you've moved to London, across the other side of the world to chase something that you've wanted to chase. I admire that so much because 95% of people never do that. Probably 98%. I don't know. I'm just totally guessing on a statistic. But yeah, not many people do that. Not many people move away and experience a different country or a different culture like I did in the Middle East. And I've done that from leaving the police. Like when I left, I'd been in 7.5 years, and people, not everybody, but some people were saying like, you can't leave this career, you've got it for life.
That's a
And it's
big
like, yeah, but
shift away from the
yeah,
police.
yeah,
Big jump.
it is. But I knew in myself, I didn't want to do it for another 28 years of my life.
So you may as well just leave now.
I've been in 7.5 years. To pension, like to full career in the police, it was 35 years. So another 27, 28 years of doing that. After 7, 8 years of doing it, I realized this is not me for the rest of my life. And there's so many other things out there. So that's when I found, a position with the New York Red Bulls, moved out to New York, left the police in the January, went out in the end of January, like it was quite fast, but I'd already planned it. I'd been organizing this for like 6 months. So it wasn't just a last minute thing. And then again, moving out there, setting up 2 gyms, then I had the desire to move to the other side of the industry to design gyms and sell the equipment. So that then came into play because I was chasing something else. And then the online platform actually came quite organically, and I was not pushed into it, but I was told, why don't you create an online training platform? Like people were telling me, like, Chris, you know your stuff. Like, why don't you do it? And this was, just before COVID. And I was like, yeah, why not? Like, okay. So built a website, put some systems together, got a platform, started coaching people, and it went from there. So the biggest lesson, I think, is just having the confidence and the balls and to do it, to make some changes, because a lot of people just don't do it. And
yeah,
even in my town that I live, a lot of people, when I've just came back to it 6 months ago, the town that I'm from, and like I seen a girl today. I'm from it's a town called Hartlepool in the northeast.
Okay.
It's close to Middlesbrough in Teesside. But I seen a girl today I used to go to school with in the dentist. I was there with my son this morning. He was just getting his teeth checked. He's 7. And I was like, oh, hi, how are you doing? And I said, oh, I didn't realize you worked in the dentist. She's like, yeah, I've been here 25 years. So she went to that dentistry when she left school. And then she's been there ever since. It's not a bad thing. But
no.
And she's a great girl, like from what I remember, and she seems like happy and everything. But you're like, oh my God, I don't think I could have joined somewhere. I personally, as a person, could have joined somewhere at 17,
and then stayed
and stayed when it's right. It's like 10 minutes from a house every single day, like for 25 years.
I feel the same.
But again, some people,
it works.
Honestly, it works. They're happy, But I always think the world is so big. You have to potentially reach out, create opportunities. People say it's lucky, But if you've never put yourself in those positions, like went to that
Yeah.
event, never, if you never made this happen, you wouldn't be sat here where you are now. You know, like you
Very
just didn't move to London and get another job by luck. That doesn't happen.
No, no. Yes, it takes a lot of yeah, just delusion and grit. Have you had any
Yeah, I like that.
it's true. It's a
Yeah,
bit of a combination of both. Have you had
yeah.
any like of those circumstances that haven't worked out for you? Like have you ever taken a big risk or
Oh,
changed your skill set and then it's been like not what you expected?
I think the big one, like, of course, and I think that's going to happen, right? You're going to be
Of course.
disappointed by
Yes.
people. You're going to be pissed off. You're going to be down. You feel low. You feel like you failed. You're a loser. Like all of those things come into play, and I think that is completely natural to happen. Um, so yeah, I think that is just you've got to understand that's just part of the game. Like that is
Hmm.
part of the
Hmm.
game, and if you can't ride the waves, you're gonna get stuck or you're drowned. One of the biggest things that happened to me that was probably one of the worst things that had happened in my life, to be honest. Like it impacted me so much, but I had a business partner out in the Middle East and we set up a company to design gyms and sell equipment. And basically my business partner, like I felt like we should have had a huge amount of profit at the end, because I didn't take any money out of the business for nearly 14 months. And then I got left with next to nothing in profit. So I walked away from a business that I'd run for 14, 16 months, and I walked away with barely nothing.
That's really stressful. How did you deal with that?
Oh, um,
Or what
that
did you
was
learn
hard.
from it? Yeah. Did you how
Well,
did you pick yourself back up?
we I was with I met my wife out in the Middle East. She's actually from New Zealand.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. So we made the decision after that was happening to leave the Middle East and come back to the UK. And so I left that environment, and it was, yeah, a very hard time kind of thinking you trusted somebody, they let you down. Maybe I'd done some things that like I shouldn't have done through that process, but it was a very hard time because I'd built something for 18 months and walked away with next to nothing for the work that I'd done, really. I'm just checking if you can still hear me or the video's froze again. Yeah, we as that was happening, I had like a feeling something was going to happen, and we just made the decision to move back, to take myself out of that environment and literally leave the Middle East and come back to the UK. And but yeah, the process of that was really, really hard, to be honest. It was a
Yes, yeah.
yeah hard thing when you've put your whole effort into something for 18 months and then you walk away with nothing. Um, like it felt like I walked away with nothing. I had a little bit, but nothing like I expected. So it was just, yeah, I had to break free from that relationship and that partnership because it went south, let's say. Yeah.
Have you found a way to like get yourself through that doubt? Because I assume it
Oh,
sits there every time you're about to invest, like months or hours or money even. Like what's worked for you? Because you've come up
there's two
against it
sides.
probably a few times.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, there's two sides of this, just on a human nature. And I went probably, or have gone way one-sided. So I trusted, like in a nutshell, I won't go too deep into it, but the guy who I partnered with was a guy who I'd known for 2.5 years. He was in the gym every single day. He was older than me, so he was like a father figure, and I trusted him 110%, like with my life and with, like, honestly, it was a deep relationship. And that's part of what made it. We developed this relationship prior to even going into doing anything. So that was a huge emotional side of things because it was so personal. Then it became business. And when you're that, like the friendship and the relationship was really, really deep. And when you trust somebody on that level, other people on the outside of me even said like, just be careful. And I just kept saying, even my wife and one of my best like friends was saying, just be careful. And I was like, no, don't worry. It's all good. It's so it hit me not just on a business element of it. It was the emotional side that really, really hurt me and took me a long time to get over, like really seriously. Like I lost my dad 13 years ago, and it's so different on different levels, but it was so different. And that's why I say it was one of the hardest things that I went through in my life because, I trusted somebody, then it didn't eventually end up that way. And I felt they'd obviously let me down.
Well, it's kind
And
of also like a marriage or like a partnership, right? Like the levels of trust, like the relationship you build. That, yeah,
honestly, that like
yeah,
even the way I put it into an analogy, it was like when we broke up, it was like we broke up a marriage and then you're grieving your partners. And even though they've done wrong, you might want to believe them again and all that kind of stuff.
yeah, yeah,
So it was really exactly, you nailed it on the head. It was exactly like that. And if no one's ever experienced that, they'd look at it from the outside and go, no, that can't happen. But it does. So
it
there was
does.
two
Yeah.
sides to it, very emotional, very personal, and then the business side. And what I've done after that, I found it very hard to trust people. So this is on a positive side. This is one of the reasons why what I said at the beginning, when people have like offered or suggested to come in and do some things with me, I'm like, I'm cool. I'll learn it myself. I'll do it myself, and I'll just do it on my own
Yeah, that's why
because
you know every part of everything that's going on all the time.
yeah. And then I hadn't wanted anyone else to come in and me be let down by them. I have tried to find like 3, 4 coaches over the years, and every single one of those coaches, when I was trying to bring them in as a coach into my platform and a nutrition coach in, they let me down. They just on a super basic level, they just didn't produce any stuff that I needed them to make for the platform. And when they're tripping on the first hurdle, I'm like, if you want to be a fitness coach online, you need to build a program. Or if you're a nutrition coach, you have to build a service or a product. Build it, we put it in, we sell it.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
when those coaches couldn't do that or they need spoon feeding, one of the guys actually was from Australia, one of the guys who I brought in.
How
And
embarrassing.
and he was 26, been coaching for like 4 years. And I said, oh, cool, bro. Let's build a program, write a 4-week program up. And he took nearly 2.5 weeks to write a 4-week training program up when he's been a coach for 4 years.
Do you think you can gauge when people are going to end up like the working relationship is going to end up not working? Or is it
I
kind of just a risk
think
you have to take? Like,
I think it's a risk. I think definitely it's a risk. I will always essentially go into relationships to say, you can obviously gauge people where you put them. If you have them at an
yes.
arm's length, if someone's an acquaintance, and you know yourself, you can take it back to friendship level. You have different friends for different things, and you know the ones who might be flaky or might let you down, cancel a dinner or a drink, and you've just got ready, and they're like, "Oh, sorry, you can't make it." Things
Yeah,
like
they're
that.
not
And
going
then
to
you've
show
got the
up.
solid, yeah,
Yeah.
and then you might have 1 or 2 solid friends who you can rely on completely. And I think that's definitely the case when you are chatting to people about either co-founding or going into bringing somebody in. You've got to trust them, but I think there's always got to be that element of, okay, go into the relationship. They haven't done anything yet for me to distrust them. I'll go in and trust them unless they prove otherwise. And I think that's a good mindset to go in and say. Same with me and Carl. We've just been chatting over the last couple of weeks. We've done like a gentleman's agreement. We've shared a couple of emails, and I've said I'm going to do this for him. He said he's going to do this for me, and I trust him. Unless he breaks that or I
That's
break it,
right. Yeah.
and then I think when you have mutual benefit, it's much better. Like, I think
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
very big key aspect. Like, if someone's bringing something to the table and you're bringing something, you can
Yeah. You're
benefit
meeting
each
each
other.
other's needs.
Exactly. When like, I'll give an example of this coach. He had no online presence. He was coaching in a CrossFit gym in Australia, in Sydney, and he essentially didn't have anything to bring to me because he had a very small following. So I showed him, taught him how to program, spent hours on calls with him, and then he couldn't produce the basics of what we needed to do. Then he started making excuses. Then he started messaging some of my current clients saying and offering them his service. So he which was like crazy. And when I confronted him about it, he denied it. I'm like, bro, I've got my clients messaging me saying, who's this guy trying to sell me training and online coaching when I'm doing it with you already? And I'm like, I couldn't believe it because the logic was insane. And I confronted him and he lied. And he's like, then I'd send him screenshots of the message. I'm like, how can you lie about this? Then he's like, oh. And then you feel like a child. And I'm like, bro, this isn't working.
No,
See
no,
you
no.
later.
Yeah. No, you'd think it wouldn't happen, but yeah, it's crazy.
It does. And the other people as well, a guy had spent 6 weeks chatting to him to again, he was a dancer and an actor. He trained for years, but he had zero presence online, zero. He was a coach doing some sessions in the gym, zero presence online. I said, okay, like I'd met him a few times. I said, look, you're a great guy. Let's like, why don't you come in my platform as a coach? We'll build a program. Then we promote it. I'll launch you in as a new coach. And then we agreed on like what I would pay him and what commission he'd get if his program sells and all the rest of it. That was all agreed. Last minute, like 5 days before we were going to kind of start everything, he then said, oh, actually, the money that you said you'd give me like a retainer each week, which is what we agreed. He said, it's not enough. I was like, wow. Okay. And then he started working it out based on London minimum wage. He worked out his retainer on London minimum wage and said, well, if I do, like, I'll tell you anyway, I said, right, well, I'll pay you £500 a month for a retainer. And he's like, okay, how many hours? I'm like, bro, you've got a program to write and clients to speak with. If it takes you 5 hours in the week, 5 hours. If it takes you 20, it's 20 hours. But over time, if you get commission on every program we sell, then that 500 might turn into 1,500, 2,000, whatever it might be, or it could go higher. The answer is I can't tell you how many hours it would be. But what he then did was broke the £500 down to London minimum wage and said, if I work 10 hours a week which is 40 hours a month, for example, he said, you'd be paying me less than minimum wage. And my mind was blown. I'm like, bro, you're thinking about this in the completely wrong context. And he just decided to bring me this up 5 days before we were going to start, after 6 weeks of me spending hours on phone calls with him.
This is such a common, experience people have. It's like last minute, it just switches.
Yeah. Somebody said to him in his ear, oh, you need to be getting paid more.
Yeah.
You know? And he's listened. And I just said, I tell you what, he was called Ollie. And I went, Ollie, I sent him a message. And I said, I'm going to bill you now for the hours that I've spent with you.
As
so
you
I
should.
sent him an invoice.
Yeah.
And I sent him an invoice. Obviously, he didn't pay it. But of course, I said, like, you've wasted 6 weeks of my time.
You mentioned just before that, I'm really interested about, you said he's thinking about this in the wrong way. How do you think people should be thinking about getting into the industry, or even just like, working with other people in the fitness space and building things they want to build? Because I think, the way he was thinking about it was all wrong.
It's
like, what advice would you give to someone that is in his position?
Great question. I think the point as well, just that we made at the start, is those two coaches didn't have anything at that point to essentially bring to me. I was going to be their platform to elevate them. So I was happy to be that mentor and that guide to say, yeah, I'd love you to come in. Let's build it together. And I have then somebody to work with. And I taught them stuff, showed them things that I know now they will still know and be able to take forward. So the point with that is there was no mutual benefit. There might be later down the line, but initially I'm bringing them on with trust. And I think to answer your question, sorry, what was your question again? Ask that again.
As in, if no, it's just you obviously worked with lots of different people, Ollie being one of them. What advice would you give to someone who's wanting to work with you or to get into the space or just build something of their own? Because yeah, the mentality he had is clearly not the way to be operating in business, in my opinion, as well. Um,
I
yeah, but
think
what advice would you give to someone?
if you're and these coaches also reached out to me
Yeah,
first. So I didn't find them, they found me. So that was the other side of it. So I think if somebody wants to, they've just got to be on the understanding of they start from zero and are willing to build it up and put the skin in the game and the time and the effort in that I've done for years, for example.
yeah, it's a lot of work.
Um, yeah, and it's just they've just got to understand that they essentially are zero now. You're zero when you start, but then it will increase over time, and just having that mentality to go into something. It's like if, say, somebody wanted to come into me with Coach OS. I haven't got this big startup fund or loads of money to say, okay, we've got 20, 50K to blow it up and I can pay you 3, 4, 5,000 a month as a developer. I'm like, look, if you come in with me, we have zero. You come in, you add your skills and expertise in like I have, but I can offer this, you can offer this. Let's both
Yeah.
improve the value and the development and the speed, and then we work together to build it up.
Yes.
It's yeah. And I also understand it from another side where, especially in the fitness industry, and again, I was going to bring another coach in, a girl coach a few months back, and look, I totally respect her as well. She was really doing well herself. She was an in-person personal trainer, and then she wanted to start online. I approached her and said, "Look, I'd love to bring you into my platform," but I said to her probably 10 times, "Look, if you want to start your own brand and your own coaching platform because you've got a good profile and a good like personal brand," I said, "I will totally understand because you've got something." So I seen that she had something and was kind of saying, "Look, come in with me." But I also said to her, like, I will understand if you want to create your own. So she was like, no, I want to come in. I want to come in. I want to come in. We had some good little collabs and stuff. And like, we hadn't done much, which was kind of part my fault. And then a few weeks ago, she said, look, I'm going to start my own thing. And I was like, hats off, like, absolutely. But we're still in contact. There's nothing lost. But, and when you communicate as well, everything. And because of my previous experiences, I was aware if I ask any fitness coach to come into me or anyone approaches me, the first thing I'll be saying is like, look, if you come in with me, you can't have your own brand because you're coming into a brand.
Yes. Yeah.
It's like if you want to work for Coca-Cola, you can't be bringing Pepsi cans in every
Yeah.
single day and trying to sell Pepsi outside.
That's where that like honest communication comes in,
Yeah. So I think it is giving people benefit of the doubt, having mutual value to bring to the table, and then just communicating on what I already know and have gone through in the past to make them aware of it and say, look, I don't want you in 2 months' time thinking, oh, I could just be doing this myself and I could make more money because I can have my own brand. You've got to kind of nail people down and say, look, do you really want to do this with me or do you want to start your own thing? And it is clarifying that because it's so easy to start your own thing. You just start your Instagram profile, set up your coaching stuff.
Debatable. As in everyone would do it if it was easy, but yeah, it's achievable.
It's easy to try to start your own thing. Whether it's successful or not is another thing, but it's easy to try to do it.
Definitely.
Like, look, Danielle, in the fitness space now, you today could go in the gym and film like 50 videos, post them over the next month, have like 40, 50 posts on your Instagram, build up a little bit of a following, and then say, I'm launching a training program now. Do you want to come on and start selling it? Like,
and what do you think about that? Like, how is there any authenticity in that, or is there any legitimacy? Of course there is, because everyone, has a skill and a talent and can meet a certain niche market. But do you have any thoughts about that?
There's two sides of this. In this industry, everyone who goes to the gym now and have maybe lost a bit of weight or something thinks they're a coach and we can coach other people. Two sides to it. One, some of those people have gone on and made like huge platforms because, look, if girls have a good bum and they tweak it well and they do good workouts and they look good, they'll do like honestly, that's 75%
There's
of
a
it.
target, yeah, audience. There's a market that wants it.
Yeah,
Beauty
yeah.
standards. Yeah, I understand.
And like there's someone who I've been following for a little while. It was a woman and she was a nurse, and then literally over the last like 2 3 months now she's this full blown online coach, and I think gonna quit her nursing job. But she's a mom and has hit that niche audience and probably started up a
There's always a
subscription.
need. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I cannot hate on any of those people because
No.
they're just capitalizing on the
On
flow,
a need. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And look, it doesn't take that much. It just takes a bit of creativity and baseline level knowledge to go on a training platform, build a program, and then sell it. It's not hard. And when people now are potentially looking at getting a job and they're getting minimum wage and working 40, 50 hours a week, where they could coach a couple of like 20, 30, 100 clients online and get a subscription or something, they'll make 3, 4, 5 times the amount they would from a job.
Yeah. And
It's
probably come home a bit more energized.
yeah, and so that's one side of it. I cannot hate on that because they're just capitalizing on what's working, right? And social media. The other side of it is uh, there is no governing body at all because like there's nobody to
To
say
vet
who
these
can and
people.
can't. Yeah, to
Yeah.
vet people, to see what qualifications they have, to see what experience they have. There's nothing like that. It doesn't exist. And you wouldn't be able to have it to exist either. It's impossible. So, and it's kind of also like, look, if you have no qualifications, but you have good like 10 years of experience, just going to the gym yourself or training or baking recipes, food, know about calories, macros, all the information's out there. If someone wants to buy something from you, they maybe don't even care what qualifications you have. They just like you.
Yeah.
They have a good relationship with you. They see you. They're like, I like this person. And yeah, if I want to pay my best friend to build a wall for me, and he can do it. I don't care if he's a bricklayer. If he can build a wall, he can build a wall. You know, as long as it doesn't fall down the next day, then you're going to pay them.
And then sue me. Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So
Yeah.
I think there's two sides where look, hats off to anyone doing it. Um, like even YouTubers just getting on and talking about absolutely nothing, going around places like, and they get paid obviously through YouTube and collaborations like loads of cash. And you're like, well, what skills or what have you got? They haven't got any, but they also have because they can market themselves and communicate with people and have relationships.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
but in the fitness space, it's totally unvetted. It would be on the person to choose who they want to go with.
Yeah. To do the research.
Yeah, yeah.
I know that you have a son. You mentioned him a few times, and I saw him on your LinkedIn, I think. Has having a son kind of changed the way you operate in business or the way you look at it, or has there been any defining kind of changes you've made to the way you work or the way that you want to work in the future?
I think I can relate to a lot of fathers now because I am one. I have a daughter as well. She's
Oh,
17.
okay. Beautiful.
Yeah. And I think you just get it when I speak to guys who are dads or boys or girls, young kids and stuff as well. So you just understand what they're going through and the scheduling and the time. Because again, as a father and being a husband, when you work and work and work, one of the biggest problems I've found in my marriage and even with the relationship with your kids is sometimes your priorities don't align to where they should be. I'll do something and I'm not be present. I haven't been aware of certain things, and this becomes like this cycle. And this is what I speak to about with the guys who I coach, where I can understand the situation, and then maybe try and catch things before they do happen. But it's normally like the case has been with me, where sometimes me and my wife have like I've gone off somewhere for the weekend or I'm on my laptop till 10, 11 o'clock like every night, and then I'll take calls throughout the day or take a call when we're out for the day, and it's then not prioritizing those things correctly, and it causes friction in other places. So but being a father and having a son, like for me, it's all about being a role model, setting good examples, setting boundaries and limits, and making also sure that he understands. Like for me, there's many elements to being a man and a human, but being a man, I think, like I'm going to probably sound some misogamy here, but I think men have certain roles in society and women have certain roles. They have to be together to complete the circle. Men can't operate without women and vice versa. But I think we have set roles that we dominate. And I don't mean that in a sexist way, but I think
I
like
understand.
as a man myself, I want to provide and protect and set examples. And then you also then women are more soft and emotional and will do certain things for the children that the man can't do and vice versa. I think that's how we've evolved, and I think that's how nature and humans have worked well together over time. But when you speak to somebody, um, this is part of my personality and my views as well, but when you speak to a feminist, they want everything equality. Equality and roles are very different in my opinion. You know, you can't have equality without understanding the roles of something. But I think, yeah, being a father to make sure my son grows up not being soft, you know, but also being emotionally connected, so he's in touch with
Yes,
both sides.
yes.
Being able to express himself and feel safe and comfortable to do that's a huge part. And then, but also like if he falls off his bike, I'm like, get up, get back on your bike, we go again,
Go again.
you know. Yeah.
Do you think
So
being
and
emotionally
that's
connected has like helped you in your business? Like, do you think you could have done it without, or in all of the businesses? Like, is there something driving you that exists outside your kids? And I mean this from the very start, like leaving the police. Like,
I think naturally you've got to be you become selfish, and this
yes,
is a good and a bad part of everything. You like any you speak to yeah, every top business owner, every multimillionaire or CEO of a
yeah,
company,
it's tunnel vision.
they've sacrificed one thing for the other. Like they've 100%, like 99% of the like yeah, they definitely have done that. And I was in a network group when I was out in Costa Rica the other month with a ridiculously wealthy bunch of guys who have sold companies for like 40 million, 10 over 20, 30 million. It was a US based group, and we did a fitness retreat for them. And when I was listening to all them, we're all just guys at the end of the day with the same problems.
Yes, yeah,
But the biggest highlight was their sacrifice and their selfishness to keep driving something and neglecting potentially their family in the process. The man, I think, always, or the business owner, even women as well, a lot of the time just think, I'm doing everything right. I'm trying to make money. I'm pressing this business forward, and then they lose sight of what potentially is the most important some of the time.
yeah. No,
So
definitely.
I think yeah, we're just humans, and we have to we are selfish. But um, to answer your question, I think being emotionally connected makes
And
you more
also, yeah, what
aware.
was driving you before?
I
I don't know.
I just believe we're not, like, again, just as people, we're not just in a box. Like some people are happy in the box, I guess, but I don't think we should be fixed to one path because there's many paths and you can
I want
branch
to talk to
off.
those people. I want to know why they're happy in the box.
Yeah, true,
No.
true. And it is, I think it's definitely a wire system in your head. You know, it's something that they think about. They don't have the desire to go and live anywhere else. They don't have the desire to change their career. They don't have the desire to go out and meet new people. They would stay in the same job, have their home, maybe live alone or have a family, and then they just stay within a circle and they're happy. And
Sounds
hats
really
off
nice.
again. It does.
Yeah.
It does. But I think as well, like there's a story analogy where I don't know if you've heard this before. I heard it first on Chris William podcast, the guy Modern Wisdom podcast. I know Chris; he's from where I'm from,
Well,
basically.
that's
So I
that's
knew him, and
unusual.
we
Yeah,
used to
that you
train a
both.
bit together and everything before Modern Wisdom kicked off. But he told this story, but the story's been around for years. A businessman flew out to Brazil and spoke with a fish farmer, or a fisherman, sorry, not a farmer. And the guy was like, "Oh my God, your fish is so amazing." He bought a few fish from him at the side of the road. And he's like, "Why don't you start catching more and sell them? And then sell them to the local village. And then you can maybe have a shop. And then you become a fishmonger as well as the fisherman. And then build a factory so you can start processing it and shipping out to the rest of the country. Then we go up to America and do the same thing." And then basically the whole system of the story was all he was doing all of that for was to get back to being able to have the time to go and fish for his family. You know, so but then he might have another $1 or $2 or $3 million in his bank. I get it, but he was just a Brazilian fish farmer or fisherman, fishing for his family and maybe a few local people, chilled, going along his day. He lived in like his house that he built, or it might have been a hut or a cabin or whatever it is, but he was happy. And all of that whole process was just to get back to
the basics.
Yeah, and then he might be 70 or 60 and too old to fully enjoy what he left in the first place. You know, and it's that chase of something. But the whole story...
It's just to end back up and back around where you started, essentially.
Because you ask as well, like, okay, why do you want to grow your business and make money? Of course, you want to live a different lifestyle. You want to be able to afford bigger things. But ultimately, you'll say, okay, I want to get back to be able to have time to be with my family or my kids. But then a lot of people are in their 50s, 60s, or 70s, and then now they have the time, but their kids are in their 20s and they don't need them anymore.
Yeah, it's you can't have it all, essentially.
Yeah,
and we can try.
So then you ask the question of what drives you, and I think it is just that selfishness, the desire to create, the desire to help other people. And I think when those belief systems, you're doing it from the right reason, but again, money makes the world go round. So of course you've got to want and chase that as well, because that's what makes everything work. So you could potentially hire other people, then they have a salary, and then they have like their life. And if you're responsible for other people, then you have an obligation. So
okay, I'll ask you the last question that I have, because we've been recording for ages and it's been amazing and I don't want to stop, because you're a wealth of knowledge and you've also experienced so much. I can't wait for this to come out, because it's just been great. I can't wait to see also what you keep continuing to build, and especially with Codex, it's going to be amazing. What has been the most defining moment in your career? There's obviously been so many, and there's lots of different varied experiences and continuous professional, personal growth. What has been your favorite? Or maybe it's this next chapter, because it sounds pretty exciting.
Yeah, like
being a tech founder. Pretty cool.
Honestly, that's genuinely, it's but again, I think that founder word gets used. I think you've got to earn that word yet. I've just built something.
That's why I dropped it, because I was like, it's a bit of clout.
It's like, I'll relate it to the fitness industry. Everyone calls himself an athlete.
Do they?
Of course, yeah. I'm like,
bro, even the word coach. Yeah, athletes.
Yeah, like everyone's a coach, everyone's an athlete. I'm like, bro, you're not an athlete. You just go to the gym.
Yeah, you just teach people. You just go to the gym.
Yeah, or you're not a coach.
You just sell a course.
Teach
it's fine.
Yeah, and it's kind of like the word athlete for me has to be earned, and you've got to be in a position where you're either professional in the sport or you're part of a club, like athletic club, and you're competing at a very high level. That for me is an athlete, not someone who just goes to the gym and does a high rocks or a CrossFit competition. Because you're paying for your high rocks, you're paying for your CrossFit competition, you're paying for all your travel, and you just go to the gym 4, 5, 6 times a week and you show up.
Yeah.
You're not a high rocks athlete.
Process.
No. So self-definition doesn't really fly with me. So yeah, for me to be a founder of something, I think it's got to grow quite a lot yet. But
hey, I would disagree, but we'll wait. We'll give it a few more months.
In my brain, that's what it has to do. It has to be something and be credible and actually be generating awareness.
Something that people use.
Someone people use. But to answer your question, I think a pivotal moment for me was the first time that I changed my career. And the reason I say it's pivotal is because I realized I could do it. And that allowed me to then progress as I've gone on. But when I left the police to then go out to America, that was like, shit, if you want to do it, you can do it. So I left a police career to then chase something, again, in a selfish way that I wanted. And that was probably the most proud moment. It's weird. When I joined the police, it was one of my most proudest moments ever, because I got into the police force at 21. when I left, I was also proud because I left something behind that I didn't want to be in anymore. And it took a lot of grit and balls and bottle to do it. And then I went and did something completely different in another country and experienced like really good things.
Yeah.
So that was the most defining, where you test it, and I was successful in doing it. And then it led me down the other pathways that I've gone in the like onwards in the future. So I think you can always track it back to something where there's been a pivot point where you can go. It's the self-confidence to be able to do it as well. So that's probably been the defining moment, and that has given me the balls and confidence to do it again and again throughout different twists. And again, just moving out the Middle East, one-way ticket, not knowing what was going to happen.
And did it pay off? Like the Middle East?
I was out there 5 years, built 2 CrossFit gyms, set them up, ran them, hired staff, set up many competitions, put CrossFit on the map for Qatar, because that's where I went. I was in Qatar, in Doha. So setting up the first CrossFit facility to make people aware of it, it was quite a big thing.
Huge.
Yeah.
CrossFit is massive. And I remember the big wave it had. I think.
Yeah.
Incredible. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for sharing all of this. It's been amazing.
You're welcome. As you can see, I can probably chat for a while as well.
I really want to keep going, but I'm aware we've gone over. We can have a round podcast, 2 in a few months.
Yeah, we can have a
let's
absolutely,
do it.
And hopefully, but I think as well, hopefully people, like some podcasts, when they get too long, people switch off.
Maybe.
So hopefully they might have made it to the end. We'll see.
Yeah, no, I love the business acumen that you've brought, and also like the mental fitness kind of stuff that we've both spoken about. I think they're both equally as important. And I also, actually, my favorite part of this podcast has been, because obviously Founder Matcha, we obviously connect developers and founders, and one of the biggest things is that co-founders, the reason businesses don't grow is because of co-founder conflict. So it's been so good to hear your thoughts about like relationships in working styles and, that trust element. So yeah, it's been great.
Just I'll end it with one thing just on that.
Please do.
I've been like matched up with a developer engineer, and when we were talking, he seems absolutely fine. Obviously knows what he's talking about, and we went through a couple of potential like improvements, what the platform could have, and some changes. And his kind of like next step was, okay, when do we start? And I'm like, I might want to talk to 2 or 3 other people first before we start moving on. It's nothing against him, but again, through my experiences in the past, I don't want to just speak to one person and say, okay, you're going to come in as a co-founder or an equity. Yeah, it is, I think one of the things Car was saying to me when they started Founder Match was a little bit like, it was like a Tinder swipe.
Yeah, it was like a Tinder or like a Hinge. Yeah, you just swipe. Because you want to increase the likelihood that it's going to be a successful relationship, but there are so many things that feed into that. And if you've had bad experiences or even good experiences, you're aware.
And I think there's definitely has to be a personal connection to them.
Yeah, there has to be an emotional connection to the work and each other.
Yeah. And you also just want to know, if I say something, I just want to know the other person gets it. I don't need to explain it. I'm like, bro, this needs fixing a little bit. Like, I get it. I understand. I can see it. And then you're like, all right, let's do it. So it's very hard. And I was talking to my wife about this as well. Like, as an adult, it's very hard to find, because I've got my school friends who I grew up with, for example.
Yes, yeah.
But they have got their own lives and everything. And I've just moved back to my hometown. And I think even as an adult, like, it's very hard to make new friends, if you don't live in a very, like, you live in London, so it'd be easier because you've got loads of different types of people potentially in the same boat as you.
Yes,
but if you went and moved to a town like I'm from, you don't have those types of people. No one's moving to my town from Australia or from like no one really who's an entrepreneur and doing loads of things and out and about, where it's very hard to meet new people.
To just find the right people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on. I hope we'll post the link and everything, and for people to either if they're interested in coaching or the SaaS platform. I think this is going to be amazing. I think people are going to love what you're working on, and just to hear your story. So thank you so much for coming on. I hope it's been enjoyable.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. Absolutely.